It's been great going through these House of Pain video comment sections and seeing that people have really been doing their homework. Going back and rewatching episodes from the previous 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, yeah, 5 seasons and picking out, some key scenes. Like, for example, I think I could be wrong, but I believe the same episode that drunk Calvin got freaky deaky with Miranda was the same episode at the beginning where Calvin, Malik, and Curtis were pretty much telling CJ, Malik, and Curtis were telling Calvin about how, hey, are you sure about getting married to Laura? It just seems like, you're just rushing into things. And I think somebody in the comments said that Curtis said he didn't like Laura or something like that. But more to the point, what I do remember for a fact is that they were all trying to tell Calvin, like, are you sure about this? I mean, you just got the divorce finalized and everything with Miranda, basically bringing that, part of your life to a close. So why do you want to rush into getting married again? And that's what I've been saying since the beginning, that we barely got to know Laura at all in season 9, aka the first season of the reboot. And then after only a couple of appearances, all of a sudden in the season finale, Calvin tells Miranda he plans on proposing to Laura. And then in the next season, they're already engaged and planning the wedding for like the next, 4 seasons. And yeah, there have been some obstacles along the way, mainly on the Miranda side of things. Well, when I say Miranda side, I mean things pertaining to Miranda. I mean, there's been jealousy. She's taking up too much space. She's not respecting boundaries. And it just goes back to the main question of, why is Calvin seemingly rushing to get back into being married? I mean, if I were to make a prediction, well, not even a prediction, but just some sort of explanation, maybe he misses being married. Not necessarily to Miranda, but just being married in general. Now, I can't speak from experience because I've never been married, but I just imagine that, and look, I would say feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not saying that I'm going to be wrong. I'm just giving my perspective, which is very limited. I remember that feeling as a kid because I've never been a person who's worn jewelry or anything like that. I'm a man that has no tattoos, no piercings, and heck, I don't even wear a watch. But I mean, people do wear watches nowadays, but not too many. But I remember as a kid, like going to Burger King and getting those, and like this video, if you remember what I'm talking about, when I think it was the Rugrats movie, either the first one or like the Thornberry crossover, the Rugrats and the Wild Thornberries movie, and they had these cool like watches at Burger King, and each one made different noises or something like that. I think I had the one that had Kimmy and Chucky on it, I think. But regardless, I wore that to school a few days, but then I stopped, and it felt weird not having that watch on my hand because I always felt like it was there when it wasn't. And I imagine it's the same thing to some extent to being married to someone, to have, someone you roll over and then they're in bed with you in the morning, someone you eat with and go out with and do things. But then it gets to the point where Calvin is over. Even worse is that apparently, not counting the continuity of the Paynes, but apparently this divorce was long and nasty, and I don't even recall if it was actually finalized when the reboot started. I think they were still going through it. And that's when the Miranda, listen, I know people got flack for Laura and everything, but I remember not being able to stand Miranda in that first season of the reboot. Even into like the next couple seasons, but that first season, her entire character was basically being a lovesick stalker. I was about to say lovesick puppy, but she was stalking Calvin. Always coming over to CJ and Janine's, or even Curtis and Ella's house, is trying to see if there was a chance that she would swing by at the same time Calvin might pop up. Seriously. And the show does a weird job with the continuity because there was that one episode, something heart from heart to heart. I think that was the name of the episode, and the episode ended with Calvin and Miranda at the condo, and they were kissing, and she was like, "See, I knew you missed me," and that's never brought up again. That's one of my worst. That's one of the worst things about the reboot. You have these key moments like intimate scenes between Miranda and Calvin, yet they aren't brought up again whatsoever, which is stupid. I mean, the show has gotten better with the continuity on season 13 and the current season, but way back at the beginning, it's like they just threw stuff together without it really making a lick of sense. Now, the reason I bring up the whole missing being married thing, it just really seems like that's what Calvin is doing. It's almost like he rushed things with Laura because he misses being married. And another possibility is he wants to like show Miranda up, like, hey, you're the one who divorced me, and I'm going to show you I'm doing better than I ever was when I had you, because that was one of Miranda's complaints when talking to Janine about how, you know what, he's making over six figures now. He's basically leveled up. He's the man now that I wish he would have been when we were married. And it's like, well, you chose to walk away. So I remember comparing Miranda to Karen from Sisters because there was a lot to compare in regards to the man they discarded and how he's living life now versus the man, he was when they were together. So with Calvin, I do feel like he rushed the proposal and, getting married. I really wish that he and Laura was dating, dated like the first season she was introduced, and then maybe up until like season 11. That way we get a chance to know her. And I know that the majority of the fans would never accept anyone aside from Miranda with the last name Payne went on Calvin's arm. But I think Laura could have been a character handled much better in a way where it's like, man, Calvin really is better off with Laura. Because no matter how many episodes I see these two together in, personally, I don't buy them being in a relationship. It just always seemed like Laura is a placeholder until eventually Miranda gets back to being Calvin's wife. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Calvin rushed his or fast tracked his relationship with Laura from dating to fiance to allegedly about to get married? I say allegedly because remember, they got engaged at the end of season 9. They've been planning the wedding for the past 4 seasons, and a lot of time has passed because remember, Lisa was pregnant in the first episode of the reboot, gave birth at the end of season 10, and Melissa has been around for 3 seasons, finally making an appearance, I think in the first episode of this season. And now it's like, yeah, these two don't seem any, not just, it's like Laura and Calvin don't seem any closer to being ready for marriage as they are for the wedding day to actually happen. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Calvin rushing into marriage again. And I think it's quite clear that if they got married the way they are now, a divorce would be happening quicker than it did between him and Miranda.